Solitary confinement within my mind led me to the water to find myself as I write, pushing towards the light, creating art that is poetry. This became my therapy. This is JDR Creatives, and this is Lonely Walks by the Water. All right, we are back.
Ready for another good one?
Another good one. I got you. Let's see. Pull up a few. Let's see. I'm speechless, just a smile from ear to ear. Such a beautiful sight, makes the hair stand up on my arms. Calm is the feeling that rushes over me. I was able to make the sunset, able to see a masterpiece, painted on this beautiful canvas before my own eyes. I'm back to that place, my place of peace. My feet dug into the sand, the water crashing against the shore. Sounds of birds chirping, children are laughing, people are smiling. I'm deciding on what is on my mind. Then panic sets in. I must calm myself to help soothe my soul. I'm home and this place feels foreign. Deep breaths and just look around. Nature will help you remove that frown.
Mm, man, that right there goes real deep, especially when you say, I'm at home, but this place feels foreign.
Yeah.
So let's go into that.
Okay.
Like you look at the verse. What was it that made your home feel foreign?
Usually you walk down onto the sand, and shoulders start to go down. I start to be able to breathe easily. But on this day, that was not happening. Um, it wasn't really until I got to the water. That verse came easily because it was, I don't know, this is the place that I love to come to, but in this moment, it doesn't feel like the place that's mine. It feels different. It looks different. It smells different. And But like I said, as I got to the water, then those feelings, that feeling rushed back to me, and I was able to actually take it in, lower my shoulders, and relax, and then take in. Uh, my guess is that whatever was troubling me that shouldn't have been troubling me, because all these years later, it doesn't matter. That's what you realize. Like, in a moment you have anxiety or you're stressed about something, but in the grand scheme of everything, it's very minute in the scale of life. But I was stressing about something, and it took a little bit longer to get in that state, in that energy that brings me peace. But I was able to. So, yeah.
Was it troublesome for you when you felt like you were in a foreign place?
Yes, because, you know, the water around these sites that, we've been to, that's all I really, felt. Besides going home, you're
Mm-hmm.
home. But
Mm-hmm.
the way I had somebody say something to me that was very critical when they came to my house. It was like, this house doesn't feel like a home. It just feels like a place that you stay. It was it was very on point. For the last 10 years, I've traveled a lot. I've worked around in different places. So I've slept in more hotel beds than I have in my own bed. So home that was never anything important. Home to me has always been around a body of water. The one place I knew I felt safe. I could be comfortable. I was comforted. Home, necessarily going home, there was no comfort there. It was just kind of like a place I visited, while I was waiting to get to my next project. You know, so yeah, I was very troubled when I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not relaxing like I normally would. What is going on? Uh, Only to keep walking, only to get closer to the water and realize, okay, no, this is home. You're just holding on to something that you need to let go.
Mm. What would you say is your favorite style of poetry?
Ooh. Oh, that's good. I don't know. I can't say that I just have a favorite style because honestly, I've listened and I've read a bunch of different artists from around the world. So I think each person probably has a style they're the best in.
Mhm.
You know, as far as how the world sees me, I don't know, and I haven't really taken the time to care. I play in two styles. I'll play prose, which is free writing, which I'm just gonna put it out as it is. It doesn't really have a balance to it, and then and then it's a rhythmic style, where you're rhyming. Those two styles, I like them the most. I've done haiku, I've done iambic pentameter, I've done those, but those two, the rhythmic and prose, are where I kind of sit. I feel the most comfortable in because I can write and convey the message that I want to the way I want to. Uh, but really, depending the artist, I enjoy all styles if I'm taking in the content. As far as how I'm writing, prose and rhythmic are how I'm going to do it. Unless somebody presents me something and says, do it this way, gives me a challenge, I don't. I'm not really. I don't seek to go those other ways because, like, I'll laugh with Mel. I could come out here and give you Shakespearean thou, they, thou. I don't care about that.
Mhm.
Really, I'm trying to give a message, and I want it to be straight line
Mhm.
to the user. I need that person to pick up my piece and be able to sit in that chair, close their eyes, and immerse themselves in my world because it now becomes their world. I
Mhm.
don't want it to be the King James version that they lose a little. Like, let me go get the new translation of that because
Mhm.
that was a time that I wasn't in.
Mhm.
So I tried to center myself and the people I'm trying to speak to.
Who would you say influenced your style?
Yeah, man, we got just give you Emmy. Give him the Emmy now. Oh, that's a really, really good question because it's kind of like in conversation of trying to find who you are. There is no influence outside of my own and seek anyone else's. That's why, like, when I tell you rhythmic and prose is kind of where I sit, I've done the other ones,
Mhm.
but they don't mean anything to me. I don't feel what I feel, and besides the two styles I like, uh, my influence just comes from me. Um, Now, as far as creating a piece, being here in this beautiful place, I gain energy. I can write a piece tonight when I get back. You
Mhm.
know, I can write them now if I wanted to, but really it's about being present in this moment, with you and be here. But no, my influences always came from me. You, at times people will say like, "Oh, this person did this." I aspire to be like that. I aspire to be the best Jemiah I can be. I don't. I can look at other artists and go, "Wow, that's a great piece of art." But when I learned when I first started giving my poetry to the world, the moment I started to seek influence in others who don't necessarily know or connect with me, I am giving them my energy. I have a responsibility to make sure that I'm writing in the purest form that I know. The moment I want to find influence from someone else, then I start to shift my writing to them. And I know because, as I told Mel before, I was, years ago, I was working with other creatives on a project similar like this, not to this level, but we would write together, we would do different things, we would collaborate. And I found myself being around other energies and being like, oh, okay, let me write like that. Or
Mhm.
let me, when I started publishing and then people would tell me, oh, write this way. I don't, I'm not influenced by other people.
Mhm.
I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
Um, that's probably gonna come off to a lot of people as arrogant. I can be influenced around energy or creation, but I will not be influenced in how I write my art, not by another person. The best it can do is the energy can help me to write a piece,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna say, okay, Meech writes this way. I want to be like that, or like I want to take pieces from you.
Mhm.
No, there was a time in my life where I was like that, and I didn't get anything out of it. And I'll never, and kind of like we talked about before about limitations and regulating how I write, I'm not going to do that. So, Gone are those days.
So is it fair to say that you allow life to influence you?
I let that look. That's why they gotta get you the Emmy. I couldn't even source that out of myself. You got it. You're right. I think that's the best way to put it. I believe life and my walk would be the greatest influence to that. So yeah, because there's not another person that I am going to be like, oh, this is my idol, this is my hero, and no, I'm literally having my life experience, and I'm trying to translate that into art that also translates to other people being able to resonate to it. It's not just about me. I can crank off, and there are pieces that I can. This is just a moment about me,
Mhm.
but I'm trying to understand that these moments that I'm having, there are other people who can be connected to them as well. And if I can get this across the line properly, what will it mean for them? Because long after I'm gone, there are people who could be reading it and taking that in, could be helping them.
Yes, yes. And as we know, poetry transcends time.
Yes, yes.
So allowing your life experience to speak for you,
Hmm.
I think is something that people will resonate with.
Yes,
And that's no matter if they're understanding English or the Spanish subtitles that we put on there,
it's true.
anything.
It's true.
So it is really important that
Yeah,
you say what you have to say and use your life experiences because then no one can say it's fake.
correct. It's authentic. You're getting me full clip authentic. Like I said, I know the time of working with artists and trying to do all the things that everyone else does.
Mhm,
I don't seek to do that. I want to. I need to empty the well. I need to give back. I
mhm.
need to be able to make sure that I'm writing something that I can leave and say that okay, I'm proud of it, and so that when I take my last breath, I'm like, hey, I gave it all. There's nothing left for me to say or write or do. I left it, and at the same time, as I told Mel, I felt the responsibility to my son as far as okay, if something because I travel a lot. I used to, after a recent promotion, I don't travel like I used to. But being on the road, people are crazy. So I always had this in my mind, like, what if something happens? I want to be able to leave these nuggets for him and make sure that he knows he's never alone. No matter where I'm at, if I'm gone, he's got my voice. It's on the web. He's going to have, he has my poetry. And after this, he's going to have video. He has all of that. I've given that to him, but at the same time, I've given it to the world as well. I don't know I don't know um, other kids, other boys or girls or men or women that I'm going to help with this. But that was the mission. It was to leave something for the planet, to leave something for others. This isn't just about me. Because, like I said, like when we did the first episode, and then after we finished, I found myself very overwhelmed because I wrote a lot of these poems as a book, and then I locked it up, and I was like, I never. This is going to come out. This is too vulnerable. No, it's crazy. And then to go back and then actually read those poems, go back to the places that gave me energy, feel that energy again, and be like, wow. It was a very overwhelming moment, to say, okay, wow, I am going to give this. I'm not afraid anymore. Before it was okay, look, they're gonna judge me. I don't care about that anymore. We can do so much more by being vulnerable because if this series can get people to start talking, and then men, especially men, to talk more to their groups of men and work together and actually have those conversations as a brotherhood, we have done what we're supposed to do. And I
Mhm.
can sleep easy knowing that was part of what I was supposed to be doing. And if I can help kids who feel like they were alone or they feel invisible, I know what it's like to be that black kid that they all said was weird. If I can help that kid, I've definitely done my job.
Mm. So how did you master being able to trust your intuition?
Got my ass beat. I kept getting my ass beat. And after you get your ass beat so many times, I mean, you got to make a choice. It's insanity, right? You
Mhm.
gonna keep? hitting your head or you're gonna make a different decision.
Mm-hmm.
So I always wanted to be accepted by the group. We talked about this before with the flame. Like I wanted to be near that flame. They didn't want me to be near it. I kept running and chasing them. Hey, let me in the circle. Once I said I don't need to be a part of the circle, I'm gonna spend time trying to learn me. Then it's been a process, which is crazy. And this process has been a 10-year process where it was like I was writing it and I was holding poems and then I would show my dad and he'd be like, "Oh, that's really good." Oh, like you ever think about like publishing or making a book? I don't know, Dad. I ain't gonna be able to do that. And then 7 years in, it was like, all right, I'm gonna make the site. We're gonna put the poems up. Boom. And it was this constant battle of, all right, people were telling me, you need to do spoken word. You need to go read them. Nah, I ain't ready to do that. And then within that 7 year clip, I was like, on the other side of it, I'm going to make a podcast. And I'm going to break down all the emotions in the cover of darkness as I saw it. You don't see my face, you only hear my voice. So you don't have to see me processing those emotions. You don't have to see the moments where I've cried on that mic. You just hear it. And now with, over the last few months where we were doing spoken, where people can feel my energy, and now to this point where we have the video, it's all been a process I was supposed to do. Because I stopped fight, I had to learn not to fight what was meant for me. We are here. If I was still fighting some of that old pull in myself, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have never been able to come to your house and meet you and connect with you and just feel your energy. And then we get to the point where we are actually doing this. And you are asking me. I mean, I wrote the poetry. I know the energy I feel by it, but then having the questions, this is a blessing in its own. Because a lot of times when I create art, the feedback that you want is not as instantaneous as you need. But your questions are, it keeps me in the moment. And that's what's, I don't know, that's what's beautiful about this. So yeah, everything that I was supposed to do was supposed to get me to this moment right now. And because I didn't fight it, because I decided, you know what, I'm gonna do some work. We're able to do this.
So when it comes to your intuition,
Mm-hmm.
is it easier to follow your intuition when it's something dark versus something light?
It used to be that way. I'm learning the light side of it. I'm learning to love myself and learning that I've always been the mantra that I talked about in the last one, where you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're loved, you're worthy. Like I had to write that and look at it on a wall constantly because in my mind it was a prison. I wasn't talking to myself right. So where I had to learn to flip that and make it a palace. So darkness has always been easy, because I can see people. I can see people's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, yeah, I know what this guy's up to. Let me get out the way. But to actually stand in the light and go, I am worthy. And I do love myself. And I am great. Oh yeah. That that has been the walk that's been incredibly tough. So to do this project is another notch into going the right way towards that because doing this is me not succumbing to the darkness to go, man, they're gonna say you crazy. Man, they're gonna be like, man, what's he doing? Why the brother ain't put Nikes on? Why the brother ain't cut his hair? There's gonna be all this
Yeah,
subjective stuff
yeah,
that could get you to easily be like, but I'm giving you such a message.
yeah.
And for me, I know what I'm leaving here because of
Mm-hmm.
the energy every time we leave one of these sites that I leave with. It makes me really happy. So um, to answer it fully, the darkness has always been easy because I spent my life having to train how to avoid bad situations. So it's easy to understand that. The walk has been learning the light and actually allowing myself to bask in it. Because too many times I'm like, oh no, we as men, we know that. We we can it's hard to accept an award for your greatness. You trying to move on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually trying to sit in every moment. When people give me flowers and really try to take it in. And I'm not mastered that yet, but I pray I will.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you would ever consider teaching poetry?
Oh yes, I had an opportunity. I had a school Actually, in Pensacola, was a teacher that was reading some of my poetry, and we could just never get on the same page about getting it. She had it was a middle school, and she wanted me to come in and kind of talk about it because she had a creative writing class. I would love to. I would love to sit, especially youth. I know as someone who's coached kids, I just didn't know the energy I was going to get from it. Like I went into it like, oh, okay. Like the negative, the dark in it was the parents made me want to choke them.
Mm-hmm.
But the light of it was like in the spring when I coached, when we went into the fall session, some kids weren't on my team, but they came, oh, coach, I did everything you said. Look, let me kick the ball. Let me show you what I learned over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the energy. So to be able to teach the next generation, there's an honor in that. I would love to do it. Love to do it. Because if we can find one of them who's writing something that people don't understand and really keep them honed in that craft, well, we can make something great.
Mm-hmm.
They can make something great. They just need to be encouraged. In my life, it's like I told my mom before. She did the best what she could do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't falter her.
Mm-hmm.
But where she could not be in the encourager to me, it's what I needed. The parent that I needed or the protector I needed, I knew who that looked like for my son.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I give him.
Mm-hmm.
And there are kids out there who need that. They need that protector to give them that encouragement so they can push through the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he breaks through the walls, he elevates me. He doesn't realize that. Like when my son looks at me, he's like, I don't want to let my dad down. What he doesn't understand is I don't want to let him down.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay, I see this kid pushing his limits all the time. I got to raise my limits. So part of me getting to this point was him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he would see me doing stuff. He's like, what are you doing? I'm writing poetry. Oh, okay. Are you going to put it out? I don't think so. He's like, you should do it. You traveled, you left the country. Why can't you do that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I can't look at a person and tell them how they make me proud, but then let them down because I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
When you become afraid, it's the call to be brave. So I had to.
Wow, that's pretty good. So when you look at people who try to attempt poetry, I'll say attempt, often we become the critic of ourselves.
No doubt.
So you're writing something, you write something down, and you ball it up and you throw it away.
Mm-hmm. I
That
used to.
limits your creativity.
Correct.
So, what advice would you give to that person that's stuck in that cycle?
Don't throw anything away. Everything. Poetry. Poetry is pieces of a puzzle. There are poems that are literally. I have a poem. I'm trying to think. It was one I released. I was in Daytona earlier this week, and we went to dinner under this bridge. It was a restaurant under a bridge, and I caught the sun right up. Remember when I told you like it's not right at sunset, it's right after.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
it lit up the sky beautifully. And I wrote it was two poems that I had written like 2 years ago, and I literally put them together as one puzzle piece.
Mm. Okay.
Every piece that you have is something. Now you may have to change some words or move it around, but don't if you write on paper, get a book. Close the book. Don't rip it out.
Mm-hmm.
For me with being digital, um, you don't really throw it away because you save every one of those notes. So that became easy. And I only went digital because there was a time when I worked for a company that I wrote a resignation notice every day I got up for 365 days until they laid me off, and that was me calling to what was going to come to me.
Mm-hmm.
So in my life twice, when I got laid off, I was calling to it, didn't even realize. When I got laid off in my last post, it started in May. I wrote two resignation notices to my boss in May, and then 6 months later, I was getting laid off.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just believe that everything that you're writing in creation is meant. You have to keep it and you have to look over it. There are poems I look over. I've been looking at, and as we're getting to the end of the year, I've been looking over poems I wrote 4 years ago and just little pieces and fragments. And I'm like, okay, how can I finish this? How can I? And that's where toward the end of the year, where I tend to put puzzle pieces together a lot more. This is the season because The Festivus period is where people go out, people go in. People are dying, people are being born. And there's just, I don't know, there's an energy that I get where I can complete things that are not completed. It's very, I don't know how to explain it. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. But it's something about like November, December, these last 2 months. I tinker a lot around unfinished projects that I'm sitting on, and I'm able to put puzzle pieces together, and then boom, create a poem. And people will be like, "Oh man, this is crazy," and they don't realize like I wrote that 3 years ago, and I wrote the other one 2 years ago, and now I just brought it together. The poem I posted this morning, I meant to post it last night, but I forgot to. When I was going through the poems I was going to read today, I was looking, and I was like, "Oh man, I'm not going to read that for y'all. I'm just going to post it as a poem." And it was when I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico, and I was like, "Man, this poem, I didn't realize this poem really made me feel this way." And literally, in the caption, it says the date. It says the date, 4/30/18. And it says something about I'm going to unearth something, because I'm foreshadowing what we've been doing. I'm going to unearth something that I never thought I would. And, you know, it's something beautiful. And then at the end, I put Take Me to the Ocean, because this series was going to be Take Me to the Ocean. And I held it for some time. And one of my friends, it's funny, he messaged me. He was like, "You in Mexico?" So we see, and I love him to death, but he cares about me, so he knows how I am, because I'm very quiet in how I move. He just trying to make sure I ain't just dipped off somewhere, instead of actually. But he's gonna support me no matter what. But to the person who's paying attention to that, once we drop this and they go back and see that, they're gonna realize I'm telling you, it's something I was holding dear to me. We're finally gonna release it. It's free. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's a lot in that, but yeah, I don't throw anything away.
Right.
Everything you write, you wrote it for a reason. If you felt it, if that pen moved, it moved for a reason. You may not be able to know how to put the words together yet, but I promise you it'll come together. Any artist, whether they sing or they write, they got plenty. I got plenty of fragments. I got 3 books at home that are fragmented. It's just a bunch of different ideas or thoughts, and I'm just like, I'm gonna come back to that and this has been the time. I've been cranking them books open every night and looking through and going, okay, what can I do? You know, when I get to Virginia and I'm with my family, there'll be some days where I look at it too, because everything you're putting out there is for a reason. You just have to figure out how to put the pieces together and get it across the line. And I'm doing that. Rather, if you ask this question, I'm doing it with the intention of trying to create something that's timeless.
Yes.
I'm not doing it so that some people can like it. I'm not doing it so someone can monetize me. I'm doing it because I'm trying to leave Jemiah Richards on this earth forever. That's the point.
Yes.
I am not afraid to love the rage of your storm. Engulf me with the waves of your pain. As I won't run, I will extend my hand, being a place of calm during your moments of chaos. I had a weekend to reflect. The time was given. Though it wasn't how I expected it, plans at times run afoul, or they just fall apart. I had moments in which I looked back, I stopped in my tracks, thinking maybe I should head back to that place I know. And I started laughing at myself, remembering the loss and sadness that I have felt and wanting something different. To be uncomfortable was the goal. That's exactly where I am. It feels different and scary. That only means I'm closer to the light. To know that is a great feeling. The grace I have been afforded allows me to sit in gratitude. I am so thankful for this journey.
Fascinated with the scenery, you ain't a local. You love the way I talk, I'm just warming up my vocal. So let me prove my innocence, purified intentions. With you. It's that season. I don't need no reason. It's that season. Seasons,